Hey guys, welcome back to A2D. It is Friday before NFC and AFC Championship games. I'm Michael. I'm here with Brian. Welcome to Agree to
Yeah.
Disagree. How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Good. Championship week, Final Four. We got some big games coming up on Sunday, so we're going to break them down a little bit. We're going to let you know who we think is going to win. We're going to let you know who our DFS lineups are. The DFS lineups are kind of easy this week because there's only 4 games, so you kind of have to just get what you can. We'll post those in the comment section, so check it out. Let us know if you guys A2D. But yeah, man, we got some big games. Championship week, Final Four. First game, we got Cincinnati at Kansas City. They just played what 3 weeks ago, a month
Yeah.
ago, whatever it was. And that was championship week in fantasy. So Jamar Chase went off for a bunch of guys. That was the game he went completely crazy.
No, that
So
was
he
the game
might do that
Higgins. Wasn't
again.
that the game Higgins? I thought it was. Oh no, you're right. It was
No, that was
Jamar Chase.
Jamar. Yeah,
You're
Jamar.
right.
I
It was
think he had
Jamar.
3 or 4 touchdowns. He had a couple
Yeah,
hundred
you're right.
yards, whatever it was. Jamar went off that game.
It was the week
So
after. It was Higgins. You're right.
is he going to do that again though? I don't know. Honestly, I don't even have him in my DFS lineup. I don't think there's any way they can let that guy do that to them twice. So I think he's going to have some extra attention.
That's
It
where
could
I
happen. He's
I
that
disagree
good,
with you
but
big time on that one. We'll get into DFS here in a second, but I disagree with you massive because of one reason only. But yeah, I can see how you say that. But yeah, we'll talk about it here in a second.
I got T Higgins in mind in my DFS lineup just for that reason. I feel like they're not going to let Jamar be the guy to beat him again. Kansas City, they got to make some type of adjustments. Spagnola, he's a guy that likes to bring pressure, and Cincinnati, they've been struggling to protect Joe Burrow. After watching that last week, seeing him, tie the record 9 sacks, whatever it was, a playoff record. They Cincinnati, that is your sole focus this offseason is protecting him, and your offseason might be coming here pretty soon because Kansas City is a team, like I said, that likes to bring pressure, and Cincinnati is struggling up front to protect Joe. So it just kind of matches up. I know they won last time in Cincinnati. This time it's in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Pat Mahomes, AFC, is the championships game is going to have to go through his backyard for what looks like the next 10 years. So Joe is one of these guys, though, that is Joe Burrow. I will say he's one of these guys that has the ability to get it done. But the offensive line deficiencies, man, they're apparent. They're huge. They're just right there. They hit you in the face. He's under duress every play, man. It's tough. So I think that's going to ultimately be the difference, and that's why I kind of lean with Kansas City. They're at home, and they're coming off of an emotional high. That win last week, 13 seconds, for Mahomes to bring him back. They're feeling extra confident right now, and they're looking poised to get another championship. Mahomes wants number 2.
Yeah, man. I mean, my head agrees with you. I don't see Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's last 2 years he's been able to get through the AFC Championship game on to the Super Bowl, and he's got when it comes to this time of year, he's gonna the history and the just have been there. He that's gonna play a big role here. Joe Burrow, not saying that he's not up for the task, man. This guy has some swagger about him. I love the kid. I think he's up there in the top 4 conversation in the AFC, for the next couple of years, and he's trying to make a name for himself. I think the experience here, man, is going to go to Patrick Mahomes. I think that's what's going to ultimately win the game. I think it's going to be another classic. I think it's going to be a high scoring game, a fun game to watch. And I think that, kind of the same thing that happened last week with Buffalo, just who makes more plays at the end. And yeah, man, it's going to be It's going to be Patty, whoever has the ball last type thing. But let me tell you, man, if it comes down to a field goal at the end, again, like Butker's a good kicker, but Money Mac, dude, I still like that guy more if it comes down to a kick, and whoever makes the kick is going to win. I would probably lean in Cincinnati's favor. But my pick is Kansas City, and I have to go with Kansas City because of the experience, because Patrick Mahomes probably is the best quarterback in football. Obviously we're talking about the GOAT. He's been there forever, and you can't really downplay the way he played this year. But Patrick Mahomes does some certain things, does some things that his talent wise, man, it's hard to,
Undeniable.
yeah, it's hard to, knock the guy. You got to respect the shit out of him. He plays the game the right way. You don't really see him, down on his teammates. He doesn't talk to the ref. He wants some calls, but he plays the game the right way, man. And, some of the plays he makes, you just have to, tip your hat and say, hey, man, good play. But he's going to be there for the next 10 to 15 years and at the top of his game. If there's anybody that's going to be the next contender for, we call him the GOAT, right now it'd be Patty, because just of what he's already done and what he probably will do in the next 10 years, win a couple, especially AFC championships, let alone maybe some Super Bowls. So, Kansas City because of the experience, but man, I really, really, really want to see Joe Burrow go out there and make a big name for himself. And this is the time to do it, man. And he might have that fire. He might have that swag, and I ain't counting them out. I'm not counting them out at all.
He's gonna bring it. He's gonna bring it, Joe. That's who he is. That's cool, Joe, man. He's gonna bring it. He's just gonna have pressure in his face a lot. So he's gonna what Buffalo did to make it close for me. I think Josh Allen's mobility and his size and his ability to extend the plays. Joe, he looks with his eyes, but he doesn't look to run like Josh did. He'll take off and run. He ran some dudes over, like that ain't Joe. Joe, he'll extend some time a little bit, but he's not as mobile as Josh Allen. Josh Allen's one of the more mobile guys, and I think that actually helped him a lot last week. Joe, he's going to be under pressure. He's going to have to get it away quick. So it's going to be up to Higgins and Boyd and Chase really to win their matchups, quick, because he's not going to have a lot of time. So they got to win, and he's got to make his reads and hit one of them. Make your reads and trust him. Good thing is those are maybe the best trio of wide receivers, definitely in the playoffs, and maybe in the league. That trio is damn good. They got the big guy T. Higgins, the do-it-all guy Jamar Chase, and then the chain mover in Tyler Boyd. So that's a pretty good trio. Zama's even pretty good. So it's going to be on those guys really to win their matchups right away, because Joe's not going to have time, and he's not going to be able to extend the plays as much. He's coming off the ACL. So you also mentioned experience, coaching, Andy Reid, Zach Taylor. I mean, Andy Reid, he's gonna he gets that matchup easily, So I honestly see the Chiefs winning this one. I think they're going to be up maybe double digits, and then maybe Joe will, put on some window dressing at the end, to make it kind of close. Yeah. But I think Kansas City's, they're poised to go right now. You can hate on them all you want, but like you said, my homeboy he ain't going nowhere. That being said, Joe Burrow, because if you're in the AFC and you watched that game last week, you're like, damn, because you got Pat Mahomes versus Josh Allen, and you're like, we got to go beat that. And Joe Burrow is actually one of these guys that can do that. Him and Justin Herbert. If you're not the Bengals or the Chargers, and you're in the AFC right now, you're like, what do I do? You're evaluating your quarterback position right now, because you got to go up and beat one of these guys, period. And Joe is actually one of the guys that I think can do it. But like Mahomes last year almost, Mahomes had some major offensive line deficiencies last year, and that's almost Joe Burrow this year. So I think that's what's going to really come down to is the offensive line. If they can protect Joe a little bit and give him just a little bit of time, then like I said, they got the pass catchers to get it done, and they already got it done a couple weeks ago. So Joe has all the confidence in the world. I have no question about him. It's just, can they protect him? That's what the game comes down to. Ultimately, I'm leaning towards no. I got the Chiefs 34-27 going to their third straight Super Bowl.
Yeah, I breaking down the X's and O's here, man. I mean, again, you talk about pressure, and you talk about Chris Jones inside. He's going to get interior pressure. You also talk about on the other side of the ball, like Ogunjobi's going to still be out. They're not. I mean, Hendricks is playing, stuff like that. They're not going to have the same kind of pressure on Mahomes, and Mahomes is going to have time. And if Tyreek and Kelsey can get open downfield, man, that's going to be a nightmare all day long, because Cincinnati has an pretty average defense, but not when you don't have a pass rush. You give Pat Mahomes all the time in the world, man. Hardman, all these guys are going to come into play. and they're just going to shred it. Tyreek finds any kind of space. You saw what happened last week. He just can take it to the house at any given moment. So I expect a lot of yards, a lot of deep plays, and a lot of. I expect this to be the more fun game to watch. I think the other game will be probably more rivalry, like tough on defense and stuff like that. But this game, I agree with you. I actually think both teams go over 30. I think it's going to be more like a 44-38 type game. Like I think it's going to be a really, really high scoring game, and I do like the Chiefs to win. My heart wants to go with the Bengals. The one thing I will say on defense, Tyrann Mathieu is a big question mark. So with that, I do like the deep threats. I do like, the one thing that it took Josh Allen to figure out a little bit was to take those shots a little bit. Like Diggs didn't really have the game last week. They didn't really expose Mathieu. Yeah, he did, but they didn't really expose Mathieu being out. I think now even if he's hindered, I think they're going to take their shots. And Joe's not going to be a guy who's going to shy away from the deep shot. And you're right, he doesn't have the mobility to run the ball like Josh Allen did. So he's going to take those deep shots. If he can complete them, this will be a game.
Right. Those pass catchers, they got to win. They got to make some contested, tough catches, man.
And another big matchup I'm looking at is going to be if they are pressuring, how much work is Joe Mixon going to get? Out of the backfield, he's a good pass catcher. But Nick Bolton,
he's got to protect.
Yeah, Nick Bolton is a guy that I don't know is getting enough credit right now. He's one of the leading tacklers in football. This kid is a rookie and he is a stud. And he had a massive game last week. So he can move sideline to sideline like probably as well, if not better than most guys in the NFL. And so if they're running those screens and stuff like that, I don't know if that's it. That could be a big play depending on the pressure and depending on the blitzes. But what we saw last week against, Buffalo is Buffalo didn't really blitz Mahomes and they didn't really get pressure on him. So you go back to the Super Bowl last year and what the Bucs did so well was they were able to pressure and bring pressure and it completely threw him off his game.
We got to him with 4 though. That's the thing is only rushing 4.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
To him is big.
Well, that's what I'm saying is Cincinnati's going to have to bring pressure because they're not going to have their starting front 4. They're going to have to bring pressure, and that's why I think that they're going to be able to beat them deep, and there's going to be some big plays in this game on both sides. I just think that Kansas City has more in the arsenal, and they probably are the better team. They're at home for a reason. So, again, I say like 44-30. I think there's just a lot of points scored in this game, a lot of yards. DFS is
44-48.
Yeah, I have 44-38 is my prediction.
That's a lot of damn points.
The over under, points, bro.
Hey. I'm not sure what it is, but Michael's got it over.
Yeah. Hey, no, I'm going over in this game 9 times out of 10. The only time that you can get me to play the under is if there's some kind of wacky weather going on, and I don't think that's going to be the case on Sunday. So I just think there's going to be a lot of points scored. It's going to be a fun game to watch, and again, both quarterbacks. Mahomes is still trying to make himself into the prototypical, like the face of the NFL. He's still got something to prove. Joe's trying. This is going to be a fun one, man. No way, any way you slice it. I kind of root for both teams on this side because, I like Patrick Mahomes. I like Joe Burrow. I like Andy Reid. After Zach Taylor went for it on 4th and 1 early in the year against KC and it worked out for him. I like him now. I just like those aggressive coaches. So, hats off to either one of these guys. Whoever move on, I root for him in the Super Bowl. So,
over the Rams if they get there, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, honestly, man, if it's Cincy, I'm rooting for them because I like Joe Burrow. I like to see fresh blood. That's who I am. I'm a Vikings fan, so we don't win Super Bowls. We're not champs in any shape or form. We win divisions every once in a while. Whoop-de fucking do. But
you got a new GM, man. You never know. Get a right coach and
hey, he's a Moneyball guy too. I found out. I did a little bit of research. He's from Princeton, man. He does a little bit of Moneyball. He does all that. So we're going to be taking some risks this year. Whoever we hire as head coach will be taking some risks, and I like that. Spielman was very safe. Zimmer was very safe.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to get. Yeah, we could talk about that all day. But I just like fresh blood, so I would like to see Joe Burrow. I would like to see Matthew Stafford. I think he deserves it. You know, I like and Jimmy G's been there before. San Francisco was just there a couple of years ago. I mean, I know the Rams were, but that was a completely different squad. So I would like to see personally Joe Burrow against Matt Stafford, but my head pretty much tells me it's going to be Mahomes because of the experience and just everything that slices up on paper. So,
and they're just, some teams are at full strength this year and some teams aren't. And Tyrann Mathieu, if he's the only guy out, Cincinnati, their offensive line, they might have everyone. I'm not sure either way. If that's their starting offensive line, they need a new starting offensive line because they can't protect them, and that's a big problem. That's what the game's going to come down to, like I mentioned earlier. And I think Kansas City, is just going to find a way to get it done. So we're both in agreement there, which is rare. But we're on the Chiefs. It's kind of hard to go against them right now at home.
I mean, I would love to disagree with you all day on this one, man. Like I would love to. It's just really hard. They're back-to-back defending AFC champions. They've been there. It's Patty.
Right.
It's hard, man.
I mean, we make our picks before we get on here. We don't talk about our picks. We can talk about the games all we want, but we keep our picks to ourselves until we get on here. And we agree sometimes. We have a different record throughout the last. We started week 17, and since then we obviously have a much different record. So we agree and disagree enough. We're going to agree sometimes. It is what it is. Especially when they're the favorites. They're at home. The coaching advantage, the overall team advantage. They're just deeper, and they have the experience in every way. So I just, I think they're going to get it done. They're going to find a way. And the crazy thing is, they might play 2 road Super Bowls in a row, road games basically, because last year they went to Tampa, and if LA gets it done, even if LA doesn't get it done, the Niner fans are going to take over LA. So it's basically going to be 2 road game Super Bowls in a row for Kansas City, which, if he finds a way to get it done, that's going to be a major feather in the cap for my homeboy. Starting out his career already this successful is pretty it's unprecedented. So
to have 2 in 4 years, man, I think the only quarterback to ever do that was Brady. So, to put yourself in that company in the first couple of years, to have 2 separate Super Bowls, to be to 3 out of 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. And I believe he went to the AFC Championship his first year as a starter.
He lost to Brady. His only 2 playoff losses are to Tom Brady. The one time the AFC Championship game when they were at home and Brady went in there and won in overtime because the coin toss, and then just now last year to the Bucks. Those are his only 2 losses are to Tom Brady. And like I said a little bit ago, go through the AFC, you need one of these guys to go in there and get them, and it was Tom. And right now it is Joe Burrow, but he's just a little outmanned right now.
They're definitely
not quarterback wise. He can do it, but he just once they get that, and they can do it. The Bengals, I fully expect them to spend money in free agency, to draft first and second round, whatever you got to do to shore up that offensive line. I fully expect them to do that, and they'll be right back in this same conversation next year.
Tackle is a huge issue. Yeah.
And you never know, because the thing about the NFL is being healthy. Last year, the Chiefs weren't healthy. This year, they're pretty healthy other than Tyrann Mathieu. So that's the big difference. Cincinnati, if they reload and they are healthy and Kansas City is maybe not as healthy, they can get it done. Buffalo can get it done. There's some of these teams that are going to be around here for a while.
If Cincinnati can find a way to protect Joe Burrow in this game, dude, it's going to be fireworks for 60 minutes. I mean, this is the team that can put up Buffalo was too, but this is another team that can put up numbers really fast. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch. This is the one. I'm looking forward to both games. If it's anything like last week,
I'm looking forward to this other game just a little bit more. I know you said that you think this first one's going to be a little more exciting. I think this one is. These two, they're just so familiar with each other. This next game, by the way, is the 3:30 game. San Francisco at Los Angeles. Rams are at home. Shanahan has beat McVay 6 times in a row. The Niners have beat the Rams 6 times in a row. They're going for number 7. They have their number kind of, but I just feel we mentioned the other 2 quarterbacks. And now when you get to these 2 quarterbacks, you have to start there. And Matthew Stafford versus Garoppolo, after what Stafford just did to my boys, Stafford is, after that throw, you seen him. He told his offense like, "Get your ass down here, get set." Like he was on a mission. That dude is in a zone right now. Honestly, he played a really clean game. He was putting balls on the money. His guys kind of let him down with their turnovers to let us back in the game, but it wasn't his fault. He played clean. Jimmy, on the other hand, he didn't play the cleanest game. Like I'm not sure if he had turnovers, but he had a couple potential pick six balls he threw up for grabs last week. So when it comes to quarterback play, I lean with Stafford. I lean with the Rams. They're more talented. I know they got the win streak and everything going, but I'm leaning with the Rams, man. They got some new momentum going. We'll see though. That rivalry is real, and it can go either way. I think this game is definitely going to be close. I think it's going to come down to maybe who has the ball at the end, which kicker do you trust more. We talked about the kicking game in the other game, and we got McPherson and Butker. You trust both those guys? Kind of same thing going on in this game. If it comes down to a kick, I trust Robbie Gould from inside 45. He's going to put it in. Matt Gay, he's got the bigger leg, but I think he's going to put it in too, man. He's one of the better kickers. All these kickers, if it comes down to that, if it comes down to who has the ball at the end, I think they're all capable. So, but is Jimmy and Jimmy has, man, for whatever reason, he does really well. He put up, I think, 27 or 30 against the Rams a few weeks ago when they played. Well, that's pretty interesting. That both teams have played each other within the last month, and they're playing again in the championship game. So they're super familiar with each other. So I think this one, they're even more familiar with each other. So that's why I think it's gonna be a little bit closer. Which quarterback do I trust at the end? It's gonna be Stafford. So that's why I kind of lean towards the Rams. My score for this one is 30-27 Rams.
Okay. I'm a little bit harder on the Rams right now than you are. I fully expect them to go out there and play motivated. They are the healthier team right now. I know Debo and Kittle and Trent Williams have already been kind of, I don't think Trent's fully cleared to play yet, but they're going to play. Those three guys are, they just played a really tough game in the really cold weather, whereas they got
an extra day. They played on Saturday. Now they play on Sunday, so they do have that one extra day.
Yeah,
they're gonna play. I think they're gonna be fine.
But here's kind of where I don't want to hear about the last 6 regular season games. I don't want to hear about taking over SoFi. I don't want to hear about how Shanahan and McVay came up together, and Shanahan has his number. I don't want to hear any of that shit right now. Okay. I'm sick and tired of hearing the Rams or the Niner fans right now. I'm tired of it. Yes, you guys have won 2 games. Congratulations. You guys have gotten here. This is where you guys are going to get smoked. I'm putting it down. I'm putting it on the line. I think that the Rams are going to come and they're going to play inspired football, and they're going to win by double digits. I have a feeling that Stafford is going to go out. He's going to throw at least 3 touchdowns. I think Garoppolo is going to throw at least 3 picks. I think that it's going to be a little bit different. Trent Williams is going to be on a hobble leg. He's going to try to play, but I think that Von Miller, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, even though I'm not huge on Jalen Ramsey, but I think they make the staple on this game.
He just got roasted.
Yeah, he did. Okay, but Mike Evans, okay, he's gonna be guarding. They're gonna be.
They don't have that
in
San Francisco.
They don't. San Francisco, they have Debo, but Debo's not he's not a prototypical receiver. Yeah. It's a little bit different. They're going to play a zone. They're going to let everything play in front of them, and they're going to play a little bit more physical. And I have a huge feeling that Matthew Stafford is going to step up in this game, and he's going to go ballistic. I think that Cooper Kupp is going to go ballistic. I think that OBJ is going to have his game. I think Van Jefferson catches a deep one. I think Higbee's going to have his play. I think Akers is going to have his play. I think, I don't know about if Whitworth is back or not. I don't really care. I think right now
didn't matter last week.
Doesn't matter last week. I think right now, I don't give a shit about the last 3 years. I don't care. Talk to me all you want, and you can disagree with me, and you can run your mouth and we're going to take over SoFi. I don't give a shit. Vikings took over SoFi against the Rams a couple of years ago. Everybody takes over SoFi. They're used to it. They're going to walk into this game. Matt Stafford likes to play in that stadium. He is the better quarterback. I don't want to hear about 5-1 Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't care. Stafford's the better quarterback. This is the first time you've really gotten a chance to see him in the playoffs, and he's been pretty lights out the last 2 weeks. Say what you want, but he's been pretty lights out. And my final score is 31-20. So it's not going to be a rout, but it's going to be 31-20. They're going to win by double digits. And I just think Matt Stafford throws 3 touchdowns. I think Cam Akers gets in for 1. I think Jimmy G's going to struggle a little bit. That's my prediction.
You're making me want to pick the Niners. I'm about to flip my pick right now.
Hey, pick the Niners because you'll be crowned on Sunday. I'm telling you right now.
My head already made my pick. Already stuck. I'm going to stick with it. I'm not going to flip flop, but I don't think it's going to be a double digit. I don't think Jimmy's going to play that bad. I think Kittle and Debo. Yeah, I know Debo's different than Mike Evans, but he's still hard to deal with. When he gets the ball, Jalen Ramsey don't really want to tackle him that much. So I think
kind of freezing up a little.
And they still have Ayuk who can make some plays out there. I think some of these guys are going to make some plays. So I think Jimmy G, the Niners are going to keep it close. Kittle is going to have a big day. I think, he's in my DFS lineup. We'll put that in the comment section. Check it out. Let us know if you guys A2D. But, man, you're disrespecting the Niners heavy. You make me want to pick them, man. They're not – Jimmy G, I know he's not the best quarterback and all, but look at his win percentage. It's undeniable, man. When he plays, they win. He has no touchdowns. I think 2 interceptions, and they're 2-0. It's crazy. I know he's like I see all these memes like the kid in the group project that doesn't really do much and still gets an A+ or whatever. But for whatever reason, when he's on the team in the locker room with the guys, they win, man. And I don't see them. This rivalry is too real. It's going to come down to who has the ball at the end almost. And I actually kind of trust Jimmy. Not as much as Stafford, though. I'm in agreement with you. Stafford, especially after what he did to us, he looks in a zone like we've honestly never seen, especially at this stage, in the season. He's a regular season guy. I think he's top 12, whatever it is, and a bunch of passing yards all time. If he adds a Super Bowl to his resume, then he might be a potential Hall of Famer. Matthew Stafford, he's that good. He's that talented. He just has never had this moment. And now that he is finally getting the moment and the opportunity, he's not letting it slip, man. And I respect him for it. He's always been a super talented guy. And I've been saying it for a long time. I've always believed in him. Last week is exactly why they went and got Matthew Stafford. They needed someone with however many seconds was left in the game to go get them in range. And the gunslinger, Matthew Stafford, didn't hesitate. Dude didn't blink. He looked down the gun barrel and boom, he's been waiting for this moment for a long, long time. And I just don't see him letting it. So I actually agree with you on the Stafford having a big game. I disagree with Jimmy having a bad game. I don't think he's going to turn it over that much. He might have a turnover or 2, but because of the pressure, Rashawn Gary last week was actually able to get to Jimmy G quite a bit. And you mentioned Leonard Floyd and Von Miller. I could see that being a thing also. They're going to get to him a couple of times, but I think it's going to be a close game. Ultimately, like I said, Stafford, he's been waiting for this. He's going to have a good game, and I think the Rams will have a home game in the Super Bowl. Rams hosting the Chiefs, and we'll have a rematch of that classic from a few years back where they just went for like 100 points or whatever it was. This time they got Matthew Stafford at the helm, though. I think it could be even more exciting. It's going to be a fun one, but ultimately that's where I'm going. Like I said, I got the Rams 30, San Francisco 27. Debo, I think he's going to score once or twice. Kittle is going to have a good game. They're both in my DFS lineups. Look out for them. You got to play them because they're the best players on the team, and it's time to show up for them. So,
yeah, I just, last week I had San Francisco winning that game. Obviously, we were both right on that game. I like the matchup in that game. I just thought San Francisco was going to be a more physical team than Green Bay. It's not that I see Green Bay as not a physical team, but San Francisco brings it. In this game, it's going to be matched. It's matched, if not. I mean, Aaron Donald is one of the most physical players in football, and I just think that he's going to make his mark on this game. You're going to see why this guy is one of the best defensive players to ever put on pads. And, I just have a feeling, I think that San Francisco and their fans are going in a little cocky. I think, yes, you just beat Green Bay. You beat the 1 seed. Hey, hats off to you. You went in. Your special teams did exactly what they should have done. Your defense played well enough to get that win. And you know what? Hey, hats off to you. Okay. Now, going on social media, now their fans are starting to run their mouths. Now, you start talking about 6-0 in the last 3 years. You start talking about, hey, we're going to take over SoFi, and the SF stands for SoFi. Hey, that other side is looking at that. And you know what? Some people might not believe in that extra juice, but that brings extra juice. And you piss a guy like Aaron Donald off, he is going to have his game, and then he's going to put a staple on it, and then he's going to tell you about it. You piss a guy like Jalen Ramsey off, like I don't think he's the best cover corner, as everybody makes him sound, but he's probably going to have a good game in this one. You talked about not wanting to tackle Debo. I think he's going to be in Debo's fucking mouth, man. I think they're all going to be in Debo's mouth. They're all going to be all over IU. I think they're going to be everywhere on the field. I think they're going to be smacking. They're going to, there might be a couple, roll up ankles. There might be a little bit of, shit like that going on. There might be some punches thrown in the bottom piles. This is a rivalry game. I like
that crap. Don't mean Jalen Ramsey is too light in the pants. He don't want none of Debo. Debo will truck that dude. Kittle will bully that guy.
Hey, we'll see.
Other than up front, where Aaron Donald and them are at, the back end ain't gonna do nothing, man. They can have all the extra juice they want. They're gonna, if they win, it's gonna be like I mentioned a little bit ago. Matthew Stafford is gonna be on his arm.
They're gonna have to take the ball out of Garoppolo's hands in this game, and they're gonna have to run the ball 40 times to win. They're going to have to make this game boring, and they're going to have to make it physical up front. Okay. Their best tackle, if he plays, is not going to be 100%. They are going to, I know Trent Williams is one of the greatest tackles in the last 10 years. He's
still the best left tackle in the league, even if he's not 100%.
I get it. Still the best. I understand it. I get it. Okay. But I still have a feeling, and you can talk about all you want. Von Miller is still that guy. Aaron Donald is still that guy. And you know what?
They showed it last week.
Leonard Floyd can still be that guy. DJ Reader, he can cause pressure.
That front is no joke.
Hey, and they're going to, I have a feeling they're going to make the Rams throw the ball. And if he has enough time to get down the field, okay. But I think he's going to be forced into some throws. I think he's going to be forced into, 2 or 3 bad zone reads, and he's going to throw some interceptions. And I think that's going to make the big deal. And I don't think on the other side of the ball, other than Fred Warner, I don't really see much on, and Nick Bosa, I don't really see much on the other side of the ball to really put pressure on Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp and all these playmakers to really, and they didn't have Cam Akers. Cam Akers is actually a big deal. I know he fumbled twice last week.
Game.
What's that?
I know that he wasn't a full Cam Akers. That was Cam Akers' first game back, so they eased him in. Last week, against us, he had the full workload. This week, he's more than likely going to get a full workload again because he's the better back. He's the most talented back, but he did fumble twice. And you talking about Stafford and the Rams like they're all great, but Aaron Rodgers is pretty good too. He just got held to 10 points. So I know the Warner and Bosa are the only guys that get a lot of shine, but Arik Armstead just had another sack or so in the playoffs. That dude shows up in the playoffs. And they got other guys. Their safeties are pretty good. I know their defense isn't the best. I actually agree with you on that, and that's why I think Stafford has the advantage is in the secondary. I think OBJ and Cooper Kupp, on the corners, the San Francisco, they just don't have an answer for those guys. And I think that's the ultimate and biggest mismatch in the game is the pass catchers with the Rams against the secondary of the 49ers. And then you got the gunslinging quarterback to go with it. So that's why my head keeps telling me, the Rams, but man, you're making me want to root for these Niners and because they have a chance, dude. They're not extra juice all you want, man. But these guys, Niners have been bullying them. 6-0 is 6-0. I know you don't like hearing about it, but it's a real thing.
Yeah, but that's not the playoffs, man. And let me end it with this, man, because the last thing I'm gonna say is that Week 18 game that they just played at SoFi was that game meant everything to San Francisco. That game meant everything to them. They had to win it to get in. I don't know if they had to, but at that point they were believing you have to win it in. Whereas the Rams were like, hey, man, like the Bucks, they've already kind of clinched the 2 seed. We're already locked in the 3 seed. We're going to be playing this team no matter what. Let's just go out and play hard. Both teams are going to bring it. And I think the Rams have a better offense. I think the Rams have a better defense. And special teams, going back to the first
Rams have
18
a
games.
good Johnny Hecker is a sick ass punter.
Well, not
dude.
only
The
that,
special
man,
teams for the
I get what they did last week, but the first 18 games this season, they had one of the worst special team units in all of football, where the Rams are towards the top, whether it's kick returner, whether it's their punter, like you talked about, Johnny Hecker, their field position. That guy, his little watermelon kick lands on the one almost every single fucking time. Matt Gay's almost automatic. He barely misses. This is going to be a game where, all three phases of football are going to come into play. I think the Rams are better on all three aspects. San Francisco has a better run game. They do beat the Rams there. Okay, Cam Akers might be able to shorten that gap a little bit, but the pass game's not close. Defense to me is not close. There's a lot more playmakers on the Rams side of the ball, and the special teams is not close. Okay, you talk about 50-50 fan split all you want. You talk about the records. Fuck all that. Fuck everything else in the past. Matt Stafford's going to show up and he's gonna hang 30 points on them. And I think they're going to win 31-20. I think they're going to play well enough to win by double digits. That's my projection in this game. And, I get into it a lot on we'll get into it now. We'll get into it on social media. That's fine. I'm a guy that's going to go with my gut. And I'm a guy that's, might say the unpopular things. And hey, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And I'll look you straight in the face and say, hey, Niners showed up. It was 30-27. It was closer than I thought it was going to be. Or hell, the Niners won. They played their game. I understand it. I can see them possibly winning this game. I understand their road to winning the game. But you know what? On paper and in my heart, I think that Matt Stafford he's fired up for this game. This is his chance of all time to show how good of a quarterback he is. He hasn't been able to do this with the Lions. So this is why they signed him. Yes, last week to beat Brady, you had to, go out and get Von Miller, OBJ, Matt Stafford, everybody to beat Brady. I get it. But this is the game they went out and signed Matt Stafford for. This one. And 2 weeks from now is why they went out. He was the final puzzle piece. And he's about to show why. And that's all I have to say about it. Not that I completely hate, San Francisco and what they do on offense. I respect it. I don't think they're as good as the Rams. And I don't listen to the last 6. I don't care about records. I don't care about the past. I'm talking about right now. The Rams are playing better football. The Rams are the better team. And they're about to show it. That's what I have to say about it. If I'm wrong, I'll come on Monday and I'll apologize to all San Francisco Nation and I'll say, hey, I was wrong. That's me. But I don't think that I don't think they understand what they're walking into on Sunday. SoFi, okay, it's still going to be probably 60-40, in the Rams' favor. I've been to that stadium twice. I get it. Like the road team travels, especially San Fran. But
I think, like you said, like I'm not gonna change my pick, no matter how much you're making me want to. But they know what they're getting into. It's a rivalry. They know them very well. The coaches know each other. The players know each other. There's not gonna be any secrets. They're fresh. They just played each other. They kind of have an idea what the schemes are. And I know you said the Rams didn't have much to play for last time they played, but that could really bite them in the ass now because you had a chance to get them out and to not deal with them. And now you got to deal with them. Now they're here right here in front of you and they're coming back. So you never know. It could come back to haunt them. But like you said, I'm actually in agreement. I could see the Niners winning. I see their path too, but I'm not going to change my mind. I think Stafford has been waiting for this his whole life. And Jimmy G, his days are numbered in San Francisco. I think next year this might be his last game as a 49er, and Trey Lance era might begin.
Let me ask you one more question going into this game. Okay, I know we're both on the Rams to win the game. Okay, you talk about familiarity, and both these teams is the third time they're playing this year. Which side do you see having the capability of surprising the other side more? like on off, like just playing offense or what they're doing on defense? Which team do you see being able to surprise the other team more by what they haven't seen this year?
I think the pressure, if the Niners can get pressure on Stafford, I think that's what they got him to throw the pick at the end of the game the last time they played. I think Bosa has to play the game of his life if the Niners are going to want to have a chance, because if Stafford has any sort of time, the back end isn't going to be able to hold up, not against these receivers, not against the group that they have with Higbee, Cup, and OBJ. So I think they're going to struggle. So it's going to come down to Bosa and Armstead. You know, I don't know if they don't really blitz Warner a lot because he's one of the best cover linebackers in the game. So, but getting pressure on Stafford, that's not something we really talk about, you know, but they were able to get it on Rodgers a little bit. They held Rodgers to 10 points. So if that's going to be huge, is if they can get to him, the front on the San Francisco 49ers, because that's kind of the strength of their team, is getting to the quarterback. So they're going to have to do it. They're in a do or die situation. Bosa has got to, you know, Josh and all these Niner fans, I get it what you're saying. They're kind of annoying sometimes. They're calling him Defensive Player of the Year, which he wasn't that, but he is a top 5 defensive end in the league right now, and he can make his stamp on the league if he has a monster game, and that they need him right now to show up. They need to have his, you know, defining moment almost. But speaking of defining moments, it's Stafford's defining moment, you know, and he has more control because he's the quarterback. He touches it every time, so that's why I keep going back to, and that's my reason.
So pressure on Stafford wouldn't surprise me. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, that I know exactly what San Francisco wants to do. They want to run the ball. They want to be physical. They want to get pressure on defense. That's what they want to do, and that's what they're going to try to do. I mean, I don't see them going in and trying to throw the ball 50 times to try to surprise Matt McVay and the Rams. It's not going to happen. They're going to run the ball 40 times. I think the Rams know that's coming. Now, what I will say is Shanahan is one of the better play callers in football. I mean, I've said it a couple of times when they went into Dallas and that one. I mean, I know it was a couple of inches short, but that was a fucking hell of a play call. And I went on social media right after. I picked the Cowboys in that game. I went on social media. I said, you know what? The Niners deserve this win. That was a hell of a play call. And you know, Shanahan outcoached. I always forget his name, the guy for the Cowboys, but you know, McCarthy. And you know, the Niners deserve that game. Last week, I saw them run the. I know the Packers. You can run the ball against them. You can control the game enough. I said the way that they're going to do it is they're going to do it on defense by holding them to, I said 17 points. Like if you can hold them to 17 or under, you have a really good chance because they're going to score enough points. They're going to score, you know, 20 points. Nobody knew that it was going to be that cold, and no one knew that the special teams were going to do what they did. This game, I think with the familiarity, they know exactly what they're going to want to do. They're going to be prepared for it, and they're going to force Jimmy G to actually make the throws. And I've seen him for the last couple of years, and I've watched him play, and I don't really know if he's the guy that's going to go out and make 30 throws to win a game. I don't see him as that quarterback. Now, Matt Stafford's going to go out. He's going to throw the ball 40 times. That's exactly. But I also see them surprising the ball. They might come down. This is how stubborn both these head coaches are. They might come out and try to play each other's type of football game. I see the Rams trying to run the ball down San Francisco's throat before I see San Francisco try to throw the ball against that secondary. And I see the Rams being able to mix it up and do different things. I don't see San Francisco being able to do that in this game. Okay, now week 18, you know, I'll be honest, I didn't even watch it. I was out in the middle of the Caribbean Sea. I didn't watch it. I don't know how that. I know it was a hell of a game. I know it went to overtime. I know
17-point lead. They had it, man. The Rams had it, and then Jimmy G made some big throws down the stretch, and he can do it. Besides Ramsey, that back end isn't much. We talked about the front, and that is true. That front four in the Rams is legit. Aaron Donald, you know, Von Miller and crew. They're
more than a front four. They're like a front six, man. They got guys off the bench that can come in.
For sure, that all them, but in the back end, besides Ramsey, and if you're a quarterback and you have multiple options, which the 49ers do with Ayuk, Kittle, Debo, they have multiple options. Wherever he's at, you know, I was thinking last week, I'm sitting here watching the game. I see where Ramsey's at. If he's on Mike Evans' side, I'm like, and then Gronk's on the other side, I'm like, okay, Gronk's getting it. You know, it's not that hard. When you just, wherever Ramsey's at, go the other side. that's how the Rams, they're not that good back there. They don't scare me a lot. So I actually think Jimmy can make a lot of these throws, and he will make a lot of these throws, and this game is going to be tight.
So what you're going to see, man, why you bring people in motion is to see if they're in man or if they're in zone. That's one of the main reasons for motion. So they're going to bring Debo in motion a lot. They're going to fake a lot of the jet sweeps. They're going to do a lot of that kind of stuff, and I understand it because the Rams are not going to play man. They're not going to. They are a primarily zone team. You've seen it all year long. Now, the earlier game that was in San Francisco, Kyle Shanahan came out straight away and said, we're going to run the ball 40 times. They ran the ball 40 times, and the Rams really couldn't stop it. Okay. And I think that was Monday Night Football, and I think they did exactly what they said they were going to do. Week 18, I think the Rams said exactly what they were going to do. I didn't really watch that game. I don't really know. So I'm not going to sit here and talk about, all this stuff about week 18. I didn't watch that one. I did watch the earlier game where San Francisco ran the ball down their throats. But if you don't think that Aaron Donald remembers that shit, if you don't think that they're not playing for everything. I mean, they haven't won a Super Bowl yet. Aaron Donald doesn't have a ring on his finger. This is his time. This is Matt Stafford's time. This is it. And I believe in the Rams a lot more than I believe in Jimmy G. And as much as I respect Debo and I like Brandon Ayuk, I mean, you heard me talk about him earlier in the year a lot, even through all of his ups and downs at the beginning of the season. I believe in LA a lot more in this game than I do. I just think that they're going to bring something, man. I think that you're going to see it. And this is a game that I think that is going to be more one-sided than people realize. The other, the Chiefs could make that game one-sided too, but I really think this is a game that the Rams are going to come in. I think that they're the best team in the NFC. I think that in that game, I think they're the best team in that game, and I think they're going to show it. And there's nothing else I can really say about it, man. Everybody knows how I feel. My heart and my head actually. The other game, my heart wants Cincinnati to win. My head says KC's going to win. My heart and head both say that the Rams are going to win this game. And, again, if I'm wrong on Monday, I'll come in and, take my hat off.
My heart, right, dude, I'm with you, but my heart actually is wrong in both of these games. My head is telling me Chiefs and Rams. My heart wants Joe Burrow to win. My heart wants the Niners to win because fuck the Rams. They just beat us, so I don't want them to win, but they're good, man. They're undeniable. You can't. I mean, I could see how they can be beat. I could see the weaknesses, and the 6 in a row thing I think is real. I think all the extra hoopla crap. He said, she said. The tickets. None of that shit matters. They know each other so well. Ultimately, it's going to come down to who plays better on Sunday, and I'm going with the Rams still, no matter how much you make me want to pick the Niners. And I'm actually rooting for the Niners a little bit because my brother is a Niner fan, and he deserves it. He's been through a couple losses, and they'd be nice to break through. But even if they do, man, you got to deal with my homeboy or Burrow. You're just outmanned in that quarterback spot, man. So it's been real, Jimmy. The winning percentage speaks for itself. You increased your value a lot this year, so the Niners might be able to get a decent return. And who knows what his next team's going to be, but it was a fun couple years. He got him this far, a championship game, a Super Bowl, maybe even another Super Bowl. So it's been a run. His value definitely went up, so that's going to be interesting off season, and hopefully Trey Lance can step it up. And
Jimmy G will be the next quarterback of the Packers. I'm calling it right now.
The boy Shanahan helping out his boy LaFleur?
Because the Packers realized I said this the other day, the Packers realized that Jordan Love is not it. Garoppolo will come in and he'll be the bridge until they can draft somebody else. That's what I think. I mean, Rodgers, I honestly think Rodgers is gone. I think Jimmy G goes to the Packers. He kind of is a great fit there. And he actually gives them an opportunity to move forward in Green Bay.
You trade up in the first round. You draft this kid. You're telling me you're not even going to give him a chance? That one game that he started, you're going to say that's it? No. You have to at least give him a season's worth and actually evaluate him and see, because
I think they're going to give him a preseason. I think they're going to give him a chance. Okay, and then they're going to trade. Okay, but the body language in Green Bay, man. If you look at everything that's happened, Jimmy G, or I'm sorry, Jordan Love, man, he's had 2 years in preseason. They are desperate.
Preseason.
Desperate.
Remember Jamar Chase had a lot of drops in preseason. Remember you were worked up about that too? How'd that work out?
Okay, but this guy's actually had some – he looked fucking terrible.
One game.
In a game they were favored in.
No way. They traded
terrible.
up in the first round. He's a quarterback with talent. I know he didn't look good in that one game. In the preseason, he hasn't looked great. But they have to give him a shot. They drafted him in the first round. You're not going to turn your back on a first-round pick after one start. There's no way.
Okay. All right.
A2D, brother.
All right. All I'm saying is they're going to realize that Jordan Love is not it. You can see it. You can see it. You can see it everywhere. And
and that could happen. That could very well happen. But after the year, he has to have at least a full season of starting before you just completely write him off as a bust. Jameis Winston had 5 seasons of starting quarterback, and the question is still out. So Jordan Love, I know he was taken first overall, so it's a little bit different. But Jordan Love, he's got talent. He was drafted in the first round.
I think these NFL GMs think a little bit differently, man. I think they brought him in, they see what it is, and they realize like, okay, this kid's not it.
Nobody has seen anything. That the jury is still out. They've
seen it in practice. The body language tells me from the entire organization, from LaFleur to the rest of the team, that they were basically on their knees last offseason begging Aaron Rodgers to come back, which basically told me maybe he's not ready yet, quote unquote. But if you're not ready after 2 years, when are you going to be ready? I mean, they didn't think Tom Brady was going to be ready.
They weren't. They let Aaron Rodgers go the whole time. They were getting ready to start Jordan Love week 1, and then finally, he came back or whatever. I don't think they were as desperate as you think they were, and maybe now they are. Maybe
their head coach was,
obviously, because you don't have you're not going to win 13 games. You're not going to be the divisional round with Jordan Love. With Aaron Rodgers, obviously you are. He gives you a better chance. So yeah, you want him, but they drafted this guy in the first round for a reason. They went up and got him. That coach got him. That GM, they got him. That's the same guys that are there.
Okay.
They're not going to just give up on him that quick.
And you're right. Maybe they'll give the kid a chance. But I'm telling you,
Jimmy's going to go somewhere. It ain't going to be Green Bay.
I think that would be a really, really good spot for him. I think that would be a really smart
Green
spot for him.
Bay, or he can go to Cleveland or Pittsburgh. There's going to be a lot of quarterback movement. Right. Pittsburgh's swinging for the fence. Pittsburgh wants to win. So I think they're going to go, more big game hunting too. I think Jimmy G is he's the guy that you go for Deshaun Watsons, you check on Derek Carr, Russell Wilson, you check on all these guys to see if there's potential movement there, and then you settle for Jimmy G. Yeah, he's a guy that can win you games, but ultimately when you get to this Final Four stage and you look at Joe Burrow, Matthew Stafford, Patrick Mahomes, and then Jimmy Garoppolo, ultimately you're going to get to this point every year. And whoever has Jimmy Garoppolo is going to feel a little outmanned at this time of year. So that's why I said he's going to be like the last quarterback guy to go,
what's funny is you just started talking and what's funny, it's going to come full circle because the news that dropped today, or the potential news that dropped today about Tom imminently retiring, watch him go to Tampa. Watch him go to Tampa. You said, hey, he's going to be the last guy. Nobody really wants him. Watch him go to Tampa. And then this time next year when the Bucs are playing in, the playoffs, you're like, oh my God, Jimmy G is the best quarterback ever. You just wait. I've known you long enough. That's coming. I know it's coming.
And if he does, then I think we can win with Jimmy G. And just like the Niners have won with Jimmy G.
You can, yeah.
Tom Brady just had 2 turnovers, and Tom Brady had a QBR of 70. Yeah, Jimmy can do that. And we still almost came back against the Rams. So it's not like and then the last year, Tom Brady in the playoffs, in the NFC Championship game, 3 interceptions. In the divisional round against the Saints, 2 turnovers. This year, 2 turnovers against the Rams. So it's not like the thing about Tom is he beats all the teams that he's supposed to beat, like the Carolinas and all these teams that we're supposed to beat up on. That's definitely going to happen with Tom because he doesn't make a lot of the mistakes. But against New Orleans a couple times, against now the Rams, like against these elite teams in the playoffs last year, against the Packers, against the, other than the Chiefs, where he didn't really do great. He didn't win that game. The defense won that game. So he hasn't really showed up these last couple of years in the biggest moments. It's not like he's having these big games and big moments. That hasn't been Tom, and that's not Jimmy. So if we are to get stuck with Jimmy, I'm not going to hate it. It's better than Kyle Trask right now. That's for sure.
At 44, man, he was brought in to, I think he actually outdid himself this year with the 38 or whatever he
and
had
last year,
whatever.
for sure.
Yeah, he outdid himself, and I think he outdid what everybody thought he was going to do. I mean, even me last year, I thought, hey, he's going to come in and he's going to kind of.
8-8.
No, I didn't say 8-8. I said 10-6, 9-7, and
yeah,
I said they're going to lose. I said they're going to lose that division to the Saints. I said the Saints are going to win that division. I was right about that. I didn't expect him to just catch fucking fire, the entire team to catch fire and go in. You're right. They really didn't need him to go and win that Super Bowl last year, but they had him, and they're lucky, and they're very thankful that they had him. He still threw 3 touchdowns in that Super Bowl. I mean, he still did his thing. Don't get it twisted. He still did his thing in that Super Bowl. He wasn't the reason why Mahomes only scored 11, 12, 13 points. Wasn't
9.
Yeah, that wasn't the reason. But Brady still did his thing, and Lenny did his thing. I mean, they would have won that game if they had Kyle Trask quarterback. I mean, that's how well that defense did play. But I mean, he surprised me last year. He surprised me even this year. The dude's 44. I mean, the only 44-year-old guys you've ever seen play is Vinny Testaverde. I think Joe Montana got.
Yeah, and they weren't chucking it like that.
And they weren't. They were a shadow of themselves at that age. Brett Favre at 41, 42. I mean, he had that 2008, 2009 season, but he was still a shadow of himself. Tom Brady just had his best statistical, other than that 1 year with Randy Moss when they went fucking ballistic. He had one of his better statistical years and one of his better rating years in his entire career. And now they're talking about him possibly retiring. I don't believe until it comes out of his mouth. But you know what? I started watching Man in the Arena last night, dude, and it just brings you he was brought in to be Tom Brady and that leader that he's been since 2003. And, whether it was to coach Kyle Trask or whoever the next guy up, and to teach a lot of those young guys how to be, professional and to push Godwin to the next stage of his career, which is another thing we need to talk about. Godwin needs to be re-signed right now. And, that was what he was brought in to do. But I think that if they want any chance to be competitive, I think they're going to win the division no matter what, because the rest of that division is just hot trash. But if they want to have a chance to win a Super Bowl or to move on to the championship rounds, they need to bring in a quarterback. And Jimmy G could be that guy.
For sure. For sure. And if he is, and that's what kind of got us there, was because the Niner game was going on, so we got on the Jimmy G thing. And honestly, I wouldn't be mad at that at all. There's several options if he does, in fact, hang it up. We'll get into that a little bit more on our next show, because we got some potential major quarterback news. We got some head coaching news. We got a lot to get into on our next show. But, I mean, that kind of wraps up this one. We got the Rams. We're both in agreement, which is rare. Like I said, in these 2 games, we both got the Rams. We both got the Chiefs. I wouldn't see the bigger upset for me would be Cincinnati. I could see the Rams. I could see a Rams Chiefs rematch from 2 years ago a lot more likely to me than it is to see the Bengals and Niners. I don't think the Bengals are going to get in there, So to me, the Rams and the Niners, I actually am looking forward to that one a little bit more. I know you said you want the other one a little bit more, so we disagree on that. But either way, with the best Final Four, man, it's going to be a fun championship Sunday. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think the last thing I'll say, I think the NFL, the best thing for the NFL would be for the Rams and Chiefs to face off. I think the best things for fans would be to see somebody new, like a Jimmy, like San Francisco and Cincinnati. It could be a mixture of the 4 teams. Best thing for the NFL right now, and probably the best Super Bowl that you could possibly watch, would be the Chiefs and Rams.
Which is what the fans want to see too. So
they're the higher seeds for a reason.
Right. We want to see the ultimately the best of the best, especially with our teams not being in it, we want to see the best of the best, and I think that's what we're going to see ultimately.
Yeah. So, hey, I know a lot. I'm going to get a lot of shit for this one. I'm probably going to get a text from Josh as soon as he sees it. I'm probably going to be hearing from, my nephew and everybody, because don't get me wrong, guys. I think that they have a chance to go in there, run the ball. I don't think it's going to happen. So don't shoot the messenger. And on Monday, hey, if I'm wrong, I'm used to it. You guys can send me all the text messages you want. But, hey, don't kill the messenger, because on Monday, I ain't going to say shit to you if they lose. So just remember that. But anyway, brother. All right, man. Hey, guys, stay tuned for tomorrow. We're gonna shoot our DFS picks. There was some news today that we really didn't get into that's gonna affect the NFL the next couple of years. So stay tuned for tomorrow's show. Until then, hey, have a good night, and take care.
Subscribe, like the video.
Yeah, there you go.